Hi, do you struggle to keep your audience engaged during your educational presentations? Today, I'll share a trick that will turn things around. With this trick, you'll be able to engage even the most distracted audience and turn even the driest topic into an engaging and memorable presentation. Sounds interesting? Let's jump right in. Before that, I'm Ramgopal from presentationprocess.com. We help professionals like you create engaging presentations. Want to know the real reason why your audience don't care about your educational presentations? It is this. You are presenting information while they are looking for solutions to their problems. Let me give you a quick personal story that made me realize this bitter truth. In the early days of starting our training company, I was invited to conduct a workshop on PowerPoint for teachers. I thought that must be easy. Show them how the various tools and buttons in PowerPoint works, share them some nice tips and tricks in PowerPoint, and end the presentation with some nice quotes from presentation gurus. Boy, was that a bad idea. Just 10 minutes into the presentation, I could see my audience literally dozing off. Even the ones that remained awake had this, I am here only because my principal made me kind of a look on their face. Then somebody from the crowd slowly raised their hand and asked, Ram, what do I do when my PowerPoint crashes just 5 minutes before the class? Those days, office programs were notoriously unstable. I could understand the pain, so I started answering the question. And then someone else raised their hand and asked, how do I copy slides from other presentations and make them look like I designed them? I answered that question. And before I could complete answering that question, someone else raised their hand. And so I totally ditched my slide deck and started answering their questions one after another. Now I could visibly see a shift in the energy in the room. People leaned in, asked more questions, took notes, and finally we were going somewhere in the program. That's when it clicked. You see, we don't wake up thinking some abstract concepts and wondering what Steve Jobs or Gar Reynolds might have said about presentations. Instead, we wake up asking, how do I finish creating my slide deck before midnight? Or where do I find pictures of mitochondria for my next biology class? Or why does no one answer any of my questions during my discussion time? So we don't want theory, we want real, practical answers. So a powerful way to make your educational presentations more engaging is to follow a problem-solving approach. Now, it might sound counterintuitive, because a problem-solving approach is more the structure of a persuasive presentation rather than an informational presentation. But if you carefully look at the adult learning principles, you will find the answer. One of the key principles is relevance and practical application. Look at this quote. It says, adults are motivated by learning that is directly relevant to their lives and work. They want to see how new knowledge and skills can be applied in real-world situations. Another key principle of adult learning is problem-centered learning. It says adults tend to prefer learning that is focused on solving problems rather than memorizing facts. This approach allows them to engage with the material in a more meaningful way and apply their knowledge in practical settings. And it agrees with what we know practically as well. See, if they want some information, they just need to browse their phones. The only reason why they are attending your presentation is because they want some solutions to their problems. So let me give you a 5-step approach to build your educational presentations in a more engaging way. Before that, a quick word about a useful product to you as a teacher from Presentation Process. The product is Teacher's Interactive Bundle. This bundle has a collection of more than 140 PowerPoint templates for teachers and 25 interactive tabs and 220 interactive quiz templates pack. So if you are into creating educational presentations, I highly recommend that you take a look at this product. The link is in the description box below. Let's continue with the 5-step approach to creating engaging educational presentations. The first step is start with a real problem, not a topic. There is a big difference between starting with a problem and starting with a topic. For example, for a workshop for teachers, a bad start would be, today's class is about classroom management. A better start would be, have you ever asked a question to your class and got no response? Boom, you got their attention. You've taken a dry topic like classroom management and framed it as a shared pain. So before you start creating your slides, take a piece of paper and start listing down all the pains and problems that your audience faces. Especially pay attention to those nagging problems that are common but yet not openly discussed. Because the best way to connect with your audience is to connect with their problems. The second step in the process is to unpack the problem. Here is a fun fact. People don't want to solve small problems. They want to solve big problems. Now think about it. Did you go to your dentist when your gums hurt just a little? Of course not. You waited till the gums got really swollen and the pain was unbearable. Now, what about your washing machine when it started making a little noise? Did you fix it? No. You waited till the racket was so loud that your neighbors started complaining about the sound. That's how the people are. We all live with small problems and we only take action when the problem is big. So to get people to take action, show them what will happen if they don't take action. Paint a picture. Make it real. Explain why the problem occurs and talk to them about how they feel. To continue with our previous example of the workshop on classroom management, you can say, when you don't get any response from your students, you start wondering if you are a good teacher. So you start rushing your slides. Your students naturally don't understand what you're saying and therefore they give a poor response. And the cycle continues and everyone starts to feel bad. Now the problem starts to feel serious. You get the required emotional buy-in and your audience starts to care about the solution. And once they care enough about the solution, you go to the third step, which is to show them the possible transformation. And this is what I've seen time and again. Everyone loves a good before-after transformation. Before they take action, they want to see what is the possible outcome and how much it can make a difference to their lives. For example, for a presentation on PowerPoint for teachers, I could show a slide which is dull and text heavy and show how, by applying certain design principles, their slides can actually look far more engaging, clear, and memorable. I'm sure you've seen a lot of our videos on slide makeovers where I show the before and after scenario. In case you've not seen our playlist on our PowerPoint slide makeover series, I will leave a link in the iCard. You can click on the link and watch those videos after this presentation. And once the desire to move towards the solution happens, you go to the fourth step, which is to present the solution as a step-by-step rescue plan. Now you bring in your content, shaped as answers and not as information dump. Explain each step and the reasoning behind the step. Talk about the common pitfalls and how to avoid them. And where possible, include a demonstration, a case study, or anything that makes the understanding solid. And once you finish explaining, instead of asking a question like, "Are there any questions?" ask something like, "What is the one thing that is still not clear?" This shifts the burden from volunteering to self-reflection. You will get much better response from this question. And finally, the fifth step, which is to end with a challenge or an action step. Don't just say thank you and end your presentation. Instead, issue a challenge. For example, for this presentation, my challenge to you is, for the next presentation, instead of starting with a topic, start with a problem. Can you see the application here? This gives a closure and starts building a momentum for action. If you're still watching the video, I highly appreciate your commitment. And as a bonus, I want to show you 7-slide story arc to create engaging presentations. The first slide can be a problem with a relatable scenario. Slide 2 is why it matters, which is the impact of the problem. Slide 3 is common mistakes and what not to do. Slide 4 is the solution, which is clear and simple. Slide 5 is how to apply the solution in clear steps and some tips. And slide 6 is real life example. It can be a before-after scenario or a case study. And the final slide is action step, which is a challenge to try it. Now, when you make your educational presentation using this structure, you automatically build an interesting arc that will engage your audience. And before you go, don't forget to check out our Teachers Interactive Bundle. The link is in the description box below the video. And the next video to watch is PowerPoint Tips for Teachers. This is a popular video for teachers. This will really help you improve your PowerPoint game as a teacher. I will leave a link to it right now on your screen. Click on the link and watch that video next. I will see you inside that video.